welcome to another episode of Sludge Underground with myself, Nasi Pizwane. And today we've got Matt Gardiner, who is a Pietermaritzburg born and bred singer-songwriter, and we're going to be basically talking about a lot today. And I want you guys to actually hang on right till the end of the episode, because we're going to be playing out with a brand new exclusive, and he actually hasn't even released this track. It's an upcoming track, and he's also going to be dropping something, pertaining his album as well. So you guys are going to be literally getting a first-hand taste of singles that haven't even been dropped, or a single that hasn't even been released. So super excited about that one. Matt, welcome to the show, man. The first thing I want to touch on is the fact that you went to Pietermaritzburg College, which is essentially a rugby seems to be the focal point when it comes to the sports. Were you a rugby player at all when you were back in school?
Oh yeah, we also pretty big with hockey. We were like constantly like top 10, top 5 in the country for hockey. But I was a rugby player. Funnily enough, the sport I was best at was football. But I did play rugby. I was in the scrum. I was a loose forward, and then sometimes I played centre.
Oh, that is hectic, man. Like, considering that, the career path that you actually took after Maritzburg College, you wouldn't really associate, being, a musician and a vocalist, with someone who was a really hectic, like, sports player. As you said, you're good at the football, you played hockey, obviously the rugby and stuff. Did attending Maritzburg College have any effect at all on your musical career? Like, is there anything that you'd say you took from your time at Maritzburg College that you now apply in what you do in music, considering that it was very sports-centered or sports-focused sort of school?
Yeah, I had a very amazing teacher at Maritzburg College. Her name was Mary Ann Hartley, and she took me under her wing right from the start, and she helped me through, she guided me through. And when I was in grade 9, I remember my voice broke while we were busy playing a show, and I was given a solo, and during rehearsals, like 2 weeks before the show started, my voice completely broke, and my teacher was like, if you look after your voice now, it's going to be something special. And she shaped me into the musician I was leaving school. So that was the big thing from college that I took.
Are you guys still in touch? Like, is she still, very much a big part of what you're doing now and the things that you're achieving? Or is it sort of like, she played her part back then and she is no longer really part of the journey?
Oh, she's still a big part. I like to keep in contact with her. Obviously with COVID and stuff, that was a little bit more difficult. But we all of us who she had an impact on, we constantly meeting up with her for coffee and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, she's still a very big part of it, and I attribute a lot of my stuff to her.
That's really awesome, dude. And obviously, considering that you are from Pietermaritzburg, that is, something that I actually learned on the show. And I used to be under this misconception that, when it comes to music, Pietermaritzburg doesn't really have a thriving music scene, until we had an artist by the name of Zoe Modiga, who's from PMB as well, and she was like, man, there's actually a lot of potential when it comes to Pietermaritzburg. There's also been a couple of bands that we've had on here that are from Pietermaritzburg. I recall Calico being one of them. But when you're looking at, or just focusing on Pietermaritzburg, what are sort of your views on it? I mean, is it a very musical place? What would you say you take or carry with you that, that is from Pietermaritzburg? Because I don't automatically think music every single time when it comes to Pietermaritzburg being mentioned.
There's a lot of Maritzburg talent. Like I get blown away every time I go out. Like, we have this thing in Hilton called Myth. So it's music in the hills, and it's this amazing little club. Kind of, I don't know if you, kind of like a music club, and it's for people to showcase their talent, and it's a lot of people who haven't really played shows before. Some people have played a lot of shows. It's like a whole variety. Some people have been given their first chances on there. Other people want to show their new music, and other people just want to bring the vibe, and it's really, really cool. It's kind of like the heart of like local talent. It kind of shows you what is out there, and I mean, there's so much out there that you wouldn't know about if you didn't go to a place like that. And there's a lot of places here in Maritzburg as well that do live music, and there's actually quite a few places that I play here. So yeah, there's there's quite a bit.
A myth is something that really comes up a lot on the show as well with a couple of the bands that you've had on. I remember there's another band called Name on the Drum that has played a couple of shows up there. Quite a few artists as well. So it's really dope that you mentioned that and how there's like a thriving sort of community when it comes to the music and stuff. I mean, looking at the fact that you do, as cited in your bio, pop country. It takes me back, man. It takes me back to a time where I worked for or under Musica, and I remember having to arrange, some of the CDs in there and sort of like a genre and stuff. And what I noticed was that a lot of the people, or a lot of the artists that do, any sort of country music in SA, were mainly the Afrikaans artists, that do, the Afrikaans songs and stuff. So with you, I mean, what sort of prompted you, what made you be like, what, I want to do, or take a stab at this, country style music, considering that, it's not really a mainstream genre here in South Africa, or I wouldn't really classify it as being a mainstream genre, and it would probably be more popular around, the people that listen to, more Afrikaans music and stuff. So what made you decide to go, country route?
I reckon country is going to become quite a big thing in a couple of years. It's currently it's blowing up all over the world. And the thing that made me do it was when I was in what year was it? 2017. My now girlfriend was au pairing in America, and she was in Michigan. And when she came home, I fetched her from the airport, and every time we went anywhere, all she was playing was country music. And that's you know how it is when you're in the car with your girlfriend, she gets the aux cord or the Bluetooth, and that's all we listened to for a long time. And I mean, I liked it from the start because it was cool. I just gave her a little bit of trouble about it just to be a cheeky, but I did like it right from the start. And I just love the storytelling behind behind the song, and the musicality, and just the way that the music can make you feel, and you can just completely tell a story with your words. And it's so awesome. It's just based on feelings, and it's just incredible. And I remember I was driving to work. I just had this line come through my head, and it just said "brown hair, brown eyes," and I was like, "That sounds like a really cool name for a song." So I got home, and I just pulled out the guitar and the piano, the keyboard, and all of that kind of stuff, and I started putting the song together. And it just had to be a country song. And once it was done, I was like, "This is amazing. I love this." And I just thought it was such a cool thing to be able to give the person who introduced me to country her own country song. That was the start of it, and now I've got a whole bunch more.
It's really beautiful, man, the way it sort of all came together, and that the person that was responsible for this was obviously the missus. It's incredible, man, and the fact that now that we're actually touching on the single, Brown Hair, Brown Eyes, I saw that you also worked with one of the Scott brothers, Bryn, who we've had a couple of his brothers in South Walls come through to the show. So when I saw that connection, I was like super stoked, man. So how was your experience working, with Bryn on that as well?
Bryn is one of the coolest guys I've ever met. He's so good at what he does, and his drum ability is insane. His music theory knowledge is insane. Like, we'll be doing something, and then he'll be like, "Oh, bro, don't you want to add like a G added minor ninth, seventh chord?" And I'm like, "Yes, bro. What are you going on about?" Yeah, he's such an awesome guy, and he really takes my songs to the next level. And I always take my demos, and he just goes, "Bro, check this," and just put this whole thing together, and my song turns out 10 times better every time we end up working on something. Like, just for example, was it yesterday? No, day before yesterday, we were working on another one of my songs, and he just started putting all this extra stuff that I had in my head out, and something that I couldn't quite figure out how to do. And he just put it together, and he added some of his own ideas, and this thing just came out amazingly, and it's sounding so good. And that's just one example of what he does. I'd consider him one of my close mates. So he's become such an important part of my life.
Yeah, bro. I think that entire family, man, is super talented. If you look at the stuff, South Wolves actually does, it's incredible as well. So obviously, it wasn't only Bryn that you worked with on that, but you also worked with Brent Quinton of Hit Record. Tell me a bit more about that. How did you guys actually connect, and what sort of value did he add, onto the single?
Oh yeah, just to go back to the South Wolves boys, Eric and Joel. That whole family is just insanely talented. It's crazy. But with Brent, Brent is friends with, or Bryn knows Brent, and we we were going to go record the drums at I'm trying to remember which studio it was. I can't remember which one it was now, but we went there and Brent was engineering for us. And we knew that he's also pretty good at guitar and bass. And Brent is also another one of those mad talented guys. And he started laying down this electric guitar stuff on, and I was like, man, this guy is insane. So that he's who I like to work with for my guitars and my basses and stuff like that. And his knowledge on how the equipment works and how to do things, and his musical knowledge is crazy as well. I'm really, really blessed to be able to work with all of these guys that know so much, and it only makes the songs better. And I'm really grateful to have met these guys.
A key point in what you were saying there is that you're very blessed to be working with these guys. And obviously, as much as it is a team effort, you were the one that was responsible for coming up, with this concept. As you say, you were in your car and you came up with it. But, how much importance would you place on having a team around you, that would be there to sort of advance, everything that you sort of do and add on to the stuff that you started? And would you say that is something that is essential to someone who may be looking at starting out, in terms of making music? Like, do they need to have a team? What sort of advantages are there? Are there any disadvantages at all? Or is it just, are they better off just doing sort of like solo work?
You can definitely do it by yourself, but to me, I mean, I did do a bunch of stuff by myself, and through my experience, it's always better to have a team around you that's supporting you. And nobody's going to be the best at everything. So to have somebody who's really good at, let's say, like mixing, someone who's really good at production, someone who's good at songwriting, it just really helps having a team. Think of it like a I don't know if you remember, like the Power Rangers. They come together to create this one big fighter guy. And that's kind of like what having a team around you with this is. Like, you can make something really nice on your own, but you can make something that's the best when you got a good team.
I totally get that Power Rangers comparison. It's really nice having those people fill in, in the areas where they may be the experts. And as you said, as individuals, we don't really know absolutely everything. So it really works out in the end. And now looking at the person that Brown Hair, Brown Eyes was actually inspired by, your girlfriend, what are her thoughts on the track? Did she enjoy it at all?
When I think I told her, I'm trying to remember how I told her now. I think I said to her, I was like, you're not going to believe what I've done. I've written a country song. And I showed her. And as soon as I started playing, she looked at me and she was like, why have you not been doing this the whole time? And I was like, I don't know, actually. It doesn't make sense why I haven't been doing this the whole time, because this is where it feels natural. This is where it feels like I write my best music. So she loves it. She says it's her favorite song that I've written. So that's saying something, because she's also very brutally honest. So to hear her say that it's her favorite one was quite an awesome moment.
Nah, that's brilliant, man. At least she enjoyed it. With you having been, obviously you said you making, the country sort of sound was because of her coming back and listening to country music, right? So what was happening prior to that?
So she went over. I've known her since I was about 15 years old. But I always had a girlfriend and she always had a boyfriend, and there was never really any gaps there. And I don't know what it was. I just one day I was on my way to the airport, actually, to go and play a show up in Pretoria for my old res, and something just told me, send her a Snapchat saying greetings from South Africa, looking like, like one of those cringy O's you do, like a salute and putting a flag there. And I was like, there's no way she's going to reply to that. Literally, it wasn't even long after. I think it must have been about 5-10 minutes before I even got into the airport. She sent one back saying greetings from America with this American flag there. And from then we just spoke every day while she was across there. I mean, we FaceTimed every day. Okay, I say every day. It was actually every morning at like 2 o'clock. But that's fine. And yeah, it was just such an awesome moment when she came back, and yeah, it was amazing.
What sort of music were you making, prior to her coming back and sort of giving you that sort of, country type flavor?
So even now, like not every song I write is completely country. There's definitely a country element in everything, with like the way I go about writing lyrics now, and the way I play the guitar and stuff like that. So there's a lot of kind of pop things. Like I'm obviously also, if anyone knows me, they know I'm the biggest Ed Sheeran fan in the world. So there's a lot of influence from Ed Sheeran. But before she came back, I was writing a lot of pop folk. Some of my biggest influences from South Africa are Matthew Mole and Jeremy Loops, and it was cool too. I was busy writing songs with like acoustic guitars, kick drums, and then I was even dabbling in a little bit of like EDM and all of that kind of stuff. So like it was a whole range of things, because I was just trying to find where I fit the best, the way that I write music, and it only took like 7 years, but I think I finally found it.
Just looking at, the traction, that Brown Hair, Brown Eyes has had while we still on that there. Did you anticipate it being, as big as it is? It's I mean, I can't go a day on the feed without seeing something related to it. That's how, like, that's the reach, that it's gotten. So when you were creating it, did you ever think that it would actually be as successful as it is right now?
I mean, you always hope that something cool is going to happen with your music, but I didn't. I honestly I didn't expect it to chart on any of the radio stations, but it did. I didn't expect to have as many people talking to me about it as there was, and I definitely didn't expect it to be all over people's feeds and stuff like that as well. So just to see something that I made out there, and people actually listening to it, and people talking about it, and it's it's the biggest blessing, and it's just, I'm so grateful to be able to make music, and so grateful to be able to share parts of my life with people, and I'm grateful that people actually want to listen to the parts of my life as well. So I mean, I'm nothing without the people that like to attend the shows, and like people who follow my journey, and I'm really grateful for that and for those people.
Matthew Mole, in fact, is an artist that you played a gig with him, towards the end of last year, and I even remember an image that you put up where it was you, Matthew Mole, I think it was Josh Scott as well. So how did that gig sort of, come along?
I've obviously been playing shows for a really long time, and I remember I met Matthew Mole years ago, but this show came about with I've got a good relationship with the company that put the show together, and pretty much anytime they put together stuff, they do like the Lychee Orchard, they do Macaranga, and all of those kind of things. Um, so over the years, I've built a relationship with him, and he knows how much of a fan I am of Matthew Moore. So normally when Matthew Moore comes to do a show for him, he'll say, "Okay, Matt's playing with Matt this time." So it's really cool. Like it's just the first time he saw me was at his name's Rowan Cleland. He saw me play at a small stage at the Belito Pro a good couple years ago, and he spoke to me afterwards, and then he started putting me on these bigger stages to play with Matthew Moore and Majosi and all these guys, and it's just such an honor, and I'm so grateful to Rowan for all of the opportunities that I've been given, and yeah, without him I wouldn't have been able to play those shows, so I'm very, very grateful.
When you mention gigs, man, I don't think we've ever had an artist, besides the mainstream, guys that has had as many gigs, or that is consistently just playing gigs, as much as you have, especially within the past year. So what is your secret, obviously besides the one that you mentioned there, and that, you got to sustain these good relationships, with, the management or the people that are behind some of these bigger artists, playing shows. What else does it sort of take to sort of be playing gigs, on a consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually just thinking in December, I was looking back and I counted all my gigs that I did last year. I think I played 75 times, which was quite crazy. That's the most I've ever played in a year. I think I've played all over the place. So I mean, it's just a case of building, as you said, building those relationships with all those people, and just bringing your A game every time, so that people want to book you again, and all of that. And also having my management helps as well. Samantha DeBrain, she also books a lot of my gigs for me. So that also does help.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. And you obviously also won the 5FM Unlock Your Talent competition. What did it take to actually win that? And what sort of made you, or what's your general thoughts, on competitions? Obviously, we took part in this one. Would you say competitions are, something that artists should definitely sort of look into? And how was your experience, partaking in this particular competition?
Oh man, that one was so cool. I remember they did like an intervarsity music challenge. I think that was a little bit earlier. I think that was like October, November, and I missed that one for some reason. I just didn't get to enter when I wanted to. It was a little bit too late. Then I heard on the radio. I mean, I listened to 5FM every day. So then I heard that they were doing Unlock Your Talent, and it was to open for December Streets, and that's a band as well that I've opened for as well. And they also really really top guys. And I just thought to myself, I was like, you know what, this is a chance to send my new song that hasn't been heard yet to these guys, and just try and get a foot in the door there. And I remember I got a phone call from 5FM, and they were like, no, you've made top 3. And I was like, oh, no ways. And then the next day we did those interviews on air, and I ended up winning. And then they sent down a crew for my performance, which was really cool. I mean, we ended up doing it at my house, which was really really cool. And I think there's just these competitions. You don't need to enter competitions to get anywhere. It's just it does help though. And it's just an extra opportunity that you never had before. And I always say, whatever opportunities you can get, you grab them with both hands. And if you just give your best, the good things are going to come. And also hard work always pays off. And that's something I've learned over the last few years. And yeah, I'd say if anyone else who plays music sees any kind of competition or anything for songwriting competitions or anything like that, please enter, because it does open doors for other opportunities and stuff like that as well. So it does have a knock-on effect later down the line.
While we're still on competitions as well, we obviously did mention that, or it is a known fact that you were part of Idols 2016. So how was that whole experience for you, and what did you sort of take or learn, that you sort of absorbed from the time that you spent, during Idols, and that you've taken with you in your musical journey since 2016?
I remember for pretty much my entire childhood, my family loved watching the singing competitions and watching Idols. And I mean, we never had The Voice back then, but I mean, if it was there, we would have watched it. But we watched Idols all the time. And I tried to enter as soon as I turned 16. But I think I was a bit too young, and I didn't have the right kind of sound or anything for there. So I got turned away a couple times. And then I remember I was second year out of school. So I was first year out. I was at Tux, and I was studying civil engineering. The university was beautiful. Being up at Tux was awesome, and the friendships I made over there I'll cherish forever. But the degree was not for me. If I was going to be a civil engineer, I think I was going to have a very unhappy life. And that's just me. And I came home because I wanted to do music. So I came back, and I missed out on the voice auditions the year before because they were in Gauteng when I was back home, and then they were back home when I was in Gauteng. So there was a little bit of a mismatch there. So when it was in the January, I remember I was just sleeping, and my mom came and woke me up and was like, the Idols auditions are in Durban today. Do you want to go do it? And I sat up and I was like, you know what? Why not? So we drove down to Durban, and I went and did all the auditions and all of that kind of stuff. And then suddenly I was in what used to be Sun City, but now it was the Wild Coast Sun. Suddenly I was in that group, and then I made it all the way through to the top 37, and then I got kicked off. So it was a really really cool experience, like being a part of like a TV production. It was like the first time I was part of a TV production. So it was there was a lot of stuff that I learned from that, which is really really helpful going forward.
What's some of the stuff that actually happens just in passing that happens behind the scenes that we never see? I mean, is there anything like that's super crazy that actually happens that they don't show us that you experienced, or is it literally just what is shown to us on TV?
It's what's shown on TV, but it's over a longer period than what you think. I don't know if the contract I signed is still in play now. I'm not supposed to reveal anything to anyone in the universe apparently, but it is over a longer period. Like that whole thing of getting a golden ticket doesn't happen in a day. That's over 4 days. Pretty much what happens at Sun City is that is kind of what gets shown on TV. I mean, we also did get given like a lot of free time while we were there at the golden ticket week. Like I remember there was like this. I don't know if you've ever been to the Wild Coast Sun, but like there's this really cool like swimming area and all of that. So we were all swimming there, and like we were all hanging around there. And I remember the one night, the group, it was after our performances, before the day before, we were getting told if we made the TV show rounds, like the live rounds. And I remember this guy, his name's Sanele Keys. Him and I got quite close because we were roommates, and like we were in the same like group and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we just became mates while we were there. And I remember we were walking around by the casino and the bar area, and we saw some easy, and he called us over, and then we hung out with some easy for a bit. So that was also kind of cool. So it was a really really cool week, and it was really fun.
No, that's incredible, man. Obviously it's a new year. What are the plans, man? What can we expect from Matt Gardiner?
Oh man, this year is going to be a big one, I think. I've got my new single. It's called Believer, so that's the one I use for 5FM. And that's quite a close one to my heart. I wrote it. I wrote it last year. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't last year now. But remember in America when George Floyd got knocked on, he got killed.
Yeah.
And then there was a huge outcry, and then everyone started coming forward about the abuse they've been facing at home and all of these other kind of things. It was something that needed to be spoken about anyways. But like violence against women and racism and all of that kind of stuff, it's just overwhelming to see how much hate there was in the world, and it really bothered me, that little chain of events. So I wrote a song called Believer, and it's all about me believing that if everyone just decides to be a better person for just one day, imagine how great the world will be, and the world can be a better place. And that's what the song is about. It's called Believer, and that's going to be coming out very soon. And then I'm busy working on my first album, which is going to be released later this year as well. I absolutely cannot wait for everybody to hear it, from what it's sounding like. And it's literally so I'll tell you the name. The name that I want to call the album is called My Hearts and Parts. And each song is like a different piece of my heart, and just something different that I've experienced, something that I've viewed, or my view on the world, or my view on a topic, or so it's all little bits and pieces of my life. And I can't wait for everybody to hear it. I'm super proud of what I've written, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it.
Listen, man, I really want to just thank you for joining me on the show. I've had a really good time learning about you. If people want to reach out and sort of work with you or support you, what are your social media handles for them, real quick?
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. It's a privilege to be able to speak to you, and to I think this is actually my first podcast. Actually, I think so. That's really really cool.
Great, man.
And so it's an honor to be on with you. And if people want to find me on anywhere, my Instagram is Matt Gardiner Official. My Facebook page is Matt Gardiner Official. I'm going to start using TikTok more this year, because I think it's a very important tool for a creator in today's times. that's also Matt Gardiner Official. And my Twitter is Maddie Gardiner, but I don't ever tweet things because I don't actually know how to tweet properly. I don't know why, but I don't know how to tweet. And you can just find me on all of those. My email and stuff is on there if you want to do any inquiries and any of that kind of stuff. But everybody's support does mean a lot to me, and without everybody's support, I wouldn't really be anywhere. So I'm incredibly grateful.
Bro, we're actually really privileged to have this be the first podcast that you've ever been on. We're literally making history. So thank you for, reaching out and, getting onto the show. And I'd also just like to thank Genevieve as well, who actually set this whole thing up. It wouldn't be a thing without her. So yeah, thank you so much, Genevieve.
Can I also say something about Genevieve too?
Go for it, please, man. Cool.
No, man,
yeah.
Genevieve, she helped me so much with this song. Like she's done an incredible job with the PR for this song, and she's got it onto so many radio stations. I've got so many news articles and stuff written about the song because of her. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Genevieve for the amazing PR she did on this song, and for getting me onto Sludge Underground. I'm incredibly grateful. And she's really good at what she does.
Genevieve, if you're listening to this, we are big fans, so thank you. If you guys want to get in touch with us, it's obviously at Sludge Underground on every single platform besides Twitter. We are at Sludge031 on Twitter, and we also have a brand new website in which you can find all our episodes, find out who the hosts are, as well as various ways that you can support the show. That would be on www.sludgeunderground.com. And obviously it's been Matt Gardiner. We're about to sign out with an exclusive, actually. As I mentioned right in the beginning of the show, we're going to be closing out for the very first time. It's an unreleased single, and you get to be the first to listen to that, basically, as we're closing out. So the track is called Believer. Thank you, Matt, for this exclusive, man. Highly appreciate it. Till next time, it is bye for now.
Open my eyes and I don't see simplest things right in front of me, and I gotta be the one who keeps improving. I gotta show the ones that keep on fooling. Whoa, these days we're losing. Whoa, right now we're choosing. Never gonna be the same. Never gonna turn around. Never gonna play this game. Tripping in the lost and found, and I know I'm a big believer. I know I'm a big believer.